Hello, so what we're going to do today is work on Florence's hair. As you can see, Florence has absolutely beautiful ringlets, which are really lovely, but you can't really brush them or do anything with them because they just tangle, as you can see. Okay, so what we're going to do is today we're just going to give Florence a condition, and then we're going to roll her hair back up into her curlers, and then we're going to pop her to the side to let her hair dry. And it takes about 2 days for Florence's hair to dry because she's got very thick hair. Okay, so we'll work on that and I'll show you what I do. The first thing I always do is get a black sack. So I'm putting Florence inside a black sack because I don't want any of her body to get wet, because her fabric body. And I'm just going to tie it up here around her neck at the front, so as much as it possibly can be is going to be kept dry. Okay, and then you can sort of push these bits down here, and that sort of keeps a lot of it dry in there like that. And then we're going to lay the towel down, and we're going to wrap Florence inside the towel, and that just adds another layer to keep her dry like that. There we go. Okay, and then that's that. So she's got just her, so we've got mainly just her hair coming out now. All right, and we're just going to take her to the sink. So here she is at the sink. Okay, so I've got her body laying just over the side here like that, and then I've got her hair into the sink itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wet her hair all over. Now be really careful because you don't want to get any water into her eyes. Okay, you can put a towel or a piece of cloth over her. Just a minute. You can put a piece of cloth over her eyes if you want to, like this. Okay, and just keep that so that you can sort of, like that will just stop any splashes going into her eyes. Alright. We basically want to get all the hair wet first before we put anything on it. There we go. If it gets into her eyes, apparently their eyes can go silver. So you need to just keep them as dry as you possibly can. Alright? So we sort of try and do that. So that's all her hair wet all over. I'm going to rinse it out a bit. Okay, and then what we're going to do now, so I've got a Ziploc bag here, alright, which I'm going to open up, and I'm going to pop all of her hair inside the Ziploc bag. Bring it up around her head so that it's all around her head. Just make sure she's all up top there. Okay, like that. So all her head is covered in like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do, and I'll see if I can do it with this. This is this bag, which I use this over and over. This is just the cheapest fabric conditioner I could get. Alright, I just went and got a nice cheap one. I know a lot of people use Downy and that sort of thing, but I've just found that any fabric conditioner you use will work. And then I just would, after I've used it, I'll just keep it in the bag, which has been sort of stored in, tie a knot in it, and it'll just last till the next time and the next time. So I'm going to try, without spilling it too much, to make a small hole in the top of the bag. Here we go. I'm going to try and get it into there without making too much mess. Let's have a see. There, it's all in there. Great stuff. No mess at all. Look at that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start to rub this conditioner into her hair. Okay, it shouldn't come, nothing should come out, but I will keep her eyes covered with a cloth. And it's just basically want to massage it all into all the hair all over her head. Okay, just like that. So she's got conditioner everywhere in there. Probably all around the back and all down the sides and everywhere like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just zip up the bag as much as it'll go. Put the bag onto the side like that, and you'll find that it will just stay there like that with all that conditioner in it. And then what I usually do is leave her for 24 hours with her hair stuck in there, and then I will come back and I will brush it out. Okay. Hello again, this is tomorrow and we're back again at the sink, and we're just looking at Florence. She's had a lovely soak there. I've just got her hair in this bag, and what I'm going to do now is just take hold of it and squeeze all of that conditioner into the bottom of the bag and get as much as you can. Pull it up again and give it another big squeeze, and then pull as much of that conditioner out of her hair as you can get it. Okay. So now hopefully you can see all that going into the bottom there. There we go, that's not bad. Then you can save that conditioner then. Alright, just zip up your bag, and that'll just save until next time. You might need it. Put that over there out the way. Right, and then we're going to take Florence to the table. So I've placed another towel on my table. Okay. And I've got myself a brush. Now this brush, I've used it for such a long time for working with the dolls, is a brush for dogs and cats and for brushing animals. And I think it was something like, I might have got it from Poundland, but it was very, very cheap. It's really good. But it's got the metal prongs, and that's what you're going to need if you're working with the doll's hair. If you use the plastic ones, what happens is it causes loads of static in the doll's hair, and it just helps it to sort of tangle up a bit more. So you want one with like this, so you can get a nice cheap one like that. I know they do sell them for the American girl dolls. They sell a special brush. But I've not had any trouble using this. So her hair is made out of plastic. It's little tiny strands of plastic which has been sewn into her head. I don't know if you can see. Each one of those is, they use a machine and they go all the way around and sew it into their head. So actually what you're doing with the conditioner is not actually making it any different, because the conditioner won't affect the plastic. What you're doing is allowing the hair to get nice and soft with the conditioner so that you can get the brush through it, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get the brush through it, and it would just tangle. But because it's nice and soft like this, as you can see, you can get your brush through it, and that's what the conditioner has done. It's just allowed you to sort of slide over the hair more than like sort of tangle it. You want it to sort of slide through the hair, and that's what the conditioner does. It just allows you to slide through. So you keep the conditioner in, and we won't rinse it out until we've completely brushed all of the hair out, and that will take a while. Okay, and what you want to do is take one piece of hair, and Florence is very, very tangled, and you just want to work on the ends of the hair like this. Let's make sure you can definitely see. So you just want to work on the very ends of the hair like that, and just brush those ends. Okay, and you want to go all over her head, and you want to come back as you're going. Once you've got the tangles at the ends, you can go back into the rest of the hair and come and bring it down and start working your way down her hair from the roots. Okay, but you need to do the ends first. If you start up here and try to go through, can you see what's happening? You're just getting more tangles, and then that's when the hair will start breaking and start coming out. So you want to start with the ends and then gradually come back through, and it takes a while. Probably it's going to take me about an hour to do Florence's hair, just brushing them out into, and that's just the brushing out bit. You can do like that. The other thing you can use now, once you've got her hair down like this, because Florence has got curly hair, is to go and get yourself a what I would call a flea brush for a cat or a dog, and you can put that through then, and that will help with those tangles. It'll just help to smooth that hair right down through, and as you can see, that's coming out so much better. Okay, now once you've brushed it all through, If you found that you had really bad tangles still and you couldn't get those tangles out, what you can do is, and this is for adults only, is get some boiling water, okay? And then you can dip her hair into boiling water, just the ends, all right? You would just dip that in, and then you'd take your comb and you'd brush it through, okay? So this is the flea comb which I use. And it's not for, I don't use it on the animals, I just use it on the dolls. I just go through her hair like that. Now this one cost me a little bit more. I think it cost me about £4, something like that. But you can see the difference that makes when you get to those ends. And then you can just gradually work your way down through the hair. Just gradually. If you come to a knot, just slow down and just gently do it. You don't want great big clumps of, to be pulling it too hard and get great big clumps of hair coming out. There, so that's going. Now, I wouldn't do anything drastic on Florence's hair. I never ever cut their hair. But you can, if you've got a doll and you really cannot restore it and there's nothing you can do, you can buy wigs online. But her hair, as you can see, has been stitched on, so you'd have to cut all of her hair off, and then you'd have to buy the wig, and then you'd probably want to glue it onto her hair. But I've never done that, so you know, but that is something that you can do if you couldn't restore a doll's hair. But as you can see now, look how lovely that is looking now, and you see how tangled that was before. It's coming out really pretty now, okay? Right, so I will go all over her hair and do that, and then the only time I would cut her hair, I don't know if you can you see that long piece there? I would give that, can you see it? I would just give that a little trim, and that's the only time I would cut her hair. Okay, now if you were going to do the boiling water, if you can't get your doll's hair straight and you just cannot get those tangles out at all, you can just dip the ends of their hair into the boiling water like that, and then as it comes up out of the boiling water, you brush it through with your comb, and what that tends to do is just stretch those ends of the hair out, and you'll get a nice sort of, like, it sort of melts it back a bit, and where it's all tangled it'll just sort of melt it, and that's what you're doing. So you don't want to do that too often. It'll melt the ends of the hair and you can get a nice flat hair piece of hair there. But you can see that's coming out beautifully. We are going to recurl Florence's hair today, so I should just keep brushing her hair all the way through, and it won't take that long, about an hour probably, to get her all done. Okay, so I'll just carry on with that. Okay, so brushing this through has taken me 40 minutes up to now, and this is the very last piece. I'm just going to go and actually, this is the very last piece, because then it's the worst piece I think that I've come to. I've changed from the brush to the comb. I think I remember the last time I did Florence, I used the comb. I found it just was better on the ends. You could get it in better. And so I just finished off this last piece. And as you can see, I'm just doing the very ends here. Okay, and you can see you've got like little knots and that. Now, you might find that there is a knot that no matter what you do, you just can't get it out. This will come out, but you might find on some of the pieces, no matter what you do. So your best thing is to brush it all the way to the end of the hair, the knot, and get it as close to the end as you possibly can. And then as you keep going, you'll see that that knot will come out. All right, if you really can't get it out. I did have a doll once which had chewing gum in her hair, and I could not get it out. I even tried chewing gum remover and it would not come out no matter what. And I did have to cut a piece of her hair out, and luckily it was underneath, so it wasn't so bad. So as you can see, look, that's all come out, all those knots, it's all come out. I've just got a tiny bit there at the end. All right, and I'll just keep going through until it's all out. There you go. So it's coming beautifully now. Look, can you see that? Okay, and it goes through every time. So this comb, I've just lost a few more teeth. I'll just put them back in a minute. They just pop out. I don't know if you can see, they're here like that, and you can just poke that one back in. But this one is my favourite comb to use when I'm doing their hair. You can get other combs, but you want it so that they're nice and close together. and the strands, so that they sort of can get those bits and pieces of knots and that out. Now the other thing I wanted to say was that you can get something called a wig restorer. I've never used it, but I heard that you can, it does work on some dolls' hair. I don't know whether it would work on these dolls' hair because they're plastic, but whether you can get a plastic wig restorer, I'm not sure. But that might be worth, if you had a real problem and you didn't want to get and you didn't want to buy a wig, you might be able to do that. The other thing is, if you have an American Girl doll, what you can do, and her hair is really bad, especially if it was, say, American Girl doll which was one of the antique type ones, and that, you know, one you were actually collecting, you can send the doll's head away to the American Dolls place. I've never done it, but I know that people have, and you can get a new head. They will put a new hair on it, so that's something you could do, especially like if you had something wrong with the eyes and the hair and whatever, you might be able to, you could do that. And I think that but I think it's quite expensive, but that is something else which is available. Alright, so as you can see, that's all of her hair done. So what I'm going to do now is take her back to the sink, and I'm going to rinse all of this condition out. Alright, because you don't want that staying in her hair. But as you can see, it's laying beautifully now. Let's just check that one last piece there. Yeah, as you can see, the comb will go right through all of it. Alright, okay, so I'll just take her back and rinse her hair out. So all I'm going to do basically is just turn the tap on and rinse it out. Okay, you want to make sure all the conditioner comes out. And what you can do is, as you're taking it out, you can just keep brushing it through so that you don't get any more tangles coming up. So I've completely rinsed out her hair. I put the flannel on her face just to make sure, and I'm just going to brush that out of the way we don't get any in her eyes. Okay, so she's all rinsed out, and now what I'm just going to do is just brush it through. You'll find that it should brush through really easily. Okay, so get her all brushed through. Now I do this on Florence because of her curly hair. The others, once they've had their hair done, unless they get really badly tangled, you don't really need to do too much to their hair at all. You can just take them and wet their hair down with just water. Okay, now Haven, she has got more, she's my black doll. She is supposed to be mixed race, so she's got more like much tighter hair, and I've never touched it, I've got to be honest. I'd be very worried about starting her hair off. If it gets messy, I will have to, because obviously I've got 2 3-year-olds, so it might sort of get like that. But you can see how easy that is going through Florence's hair now. Okay, and then we'll get her in the chair. Just get the chair up. Okay, and then we'll start working on her curls. So as you can see, this is Florence in the chair. I've got still her black sack on her, but I've taken her towel off, and I've put the towel just under the chair, because what will happen is, as I'm going through, we're going to get a lot of water dripping down. Okay, so I'm just going to go right through her hair again with the brush all over, and make sure that's laying lovely on the top and on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide out her hair. Okay, and then what we're going to do, you want to make sure that it's coming back from the head, because Florence has got a parting in her head, and you want to find that parting, divide it out into both sides, so that you've got an equal amount of hair on both sides of her head. Okay, so I don't know if you can see her parting there. Can you see it? You can see I've just started dividing it up at the front. And you want the bits which are supposed to be on this side, and the bits which are supposed to be on that side. So go across and just do that and divide her out. And then once you've got that done, I'm going to show you, because we've got to nip off to the nursery to pick up the children from the nursery. So I'm just going to show you what you want to do. You want to divide up a piece of hair, not too much, just a small piece like this. Brush it through, because you don't want any of these bits of tangles and everything. Now And you see here, let's just push it through, comb it through with the comb. There you go. I've got some long bits. Okay, and what I would do is just take my scissors. It's just those long bits there. Look, can you see? I'm just going to snip that away. So you've got a piece which is just that length there, which was longer than anything else. You can take clips if you've got any clips, and you can clip all this stuff out of the way. Take this, take it from the roots, very carefully run it down through. Okay, like that. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Yes, it's coming, so I'm getting it all nice and flat, all the way from the roots, all the way down to the tips. And just again, take your time. All right. Now, that's that. So I've got it nice and flat, running all the way down from her head. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm just going to pull as much water out of that as I can. Okay, that's quite a lot of water. Let's do it one more time. There, that's better. Okay, right, now I went into Poundland and I bought these. They are those curls for making ringlets, and Florence had ringlets before she started, so I'm actually going to put her ringlets back in. Now this will take about 2 to 3 days to dry. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take the ringlet. I don't want to roll it up like that. I want it to come from here, and either I want it to go, and I think I want it to go backwards. So I'm going to take that first end of that curl and I'm going to tuck that under. Okay, and then I'm going to take the next piece and put it on top and just roll it. All right, roll it up. Right, let's start again. Okay. So I'm going to take the end of that curl, roll it under, okay, and then roll the rest of that hair onto the top of it. There you go. And then you're just going to squeeze it over like that. And we're going to go all around her head, do exactly the same to every piece of hair on her head, and we'll just leave it like that. All right. So there we go. Okay, and I will just do that to everything until I've got her all done all around her head. This is an Our Generation chair. Whilst I'm thinking about it, the other chair, the one which you get for the Forever Friends, is a little bit lower, and that works beautifully for the welly wishers and the glitter girls, which is the little sisters of these dolls. So if you want to do, if you want to have the small, if you've got the smaller dolls, you might be better getting the Forever Friends chair. There's also a chair for the American Girl dolls as well. So, you know, whatever you can get hold of. I've got this one off Facebook, and it came with a lot of other stuff. But I think you can get them on Facebook for about £5. All right, so that might be a good idea for you to go onto Facebook and get a chair if you want to. I do find it helps with the doll's hair if they're sat in the chair, because they're held still and you can get around and do what you need to do. So I just carry on, just sort the rest of that out. I've got her parting straight now, so I want to go around and make sure I work from that parting. So she's got a nice straight parting, and then I will go around and put all the rest of the rollers in. And then I will come back and show you what she looks like with her rollers in. There we go. So here is Florence. I've just finished doing her hair, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see what I've done. I've taken the hair and I've put it on, I made a part, and I did that all the way down through the back. And then I've put 10 rollers on this side, and there's 10 rollers on that side. When you feel it, it still feels quite wet. You can feel it's not soaking wet, but it's really damp. I think it'll be a bit. Last time it took 2 days to dry, so I really want to wait until it's completely dry before I take the rollers out. So she'll just sit there in that chair until her hair is dry, and then we'll take the rollers out. One other thing I forgot to mention: when I rode my hair on this side, I rode it so that it was going backwards this way. So I rode it from the front, from the end, and I rode it so it was going back in that direction. when I did the hair on this side, I rolled it back on that direction, okay, so that my curls are going to hang down, but the ones on the right side are going to come back this way, and the ones on the left side will come back that way. So, and I've sort of done that with the parting, so it sort of goes in with the actual parting of the hair. So you've got the curls on that way going that way, and the curls on that way going that way. So here we are. Florence's hair has now been drying for 2 days. I'm just going to unroll it. And just take your time unrolling it. And then what you want to do when you've got it unrolled is take it and just roll it around your finger, like so, and you'll get a nice curl. That's all dry, as you can see. Alright, so I'm just going to go around, all around the head, and unroll it. And then we'll just bring it around my finger. Remember, with this side, we want them all to go that way. Alright. Oh, I need a longer finger. There you go, so that one's sort of hanging like that there. Like that. And you'll just do that all the way around the head, and then we come back, okay? So if you wanted to now, you could leave this, because I've got that nice straight parting in her hair, and you could put it into bunches, alright? And just have them with the curls in the bunches like that. If you wanted to have a more looser curl and not the ringlets, you could take a wide mouth comb, something more like an afro comb, or one of those ones with the big teeth in it more, and you could just very gently brush these curls out, and they will come down and they will just lay really prettily on her hair. So you can you don't have to have ringlets if you don't want to. I particularly like the ringlets on Florence because she's that's how it sort of looked when I first got her, was they were looking sort of like ringlets. So I'm quite pleased that they come out like this so well after you've done it. And you can see how beautiful and shiny the hair is now, and it does feel really soft and silky, and that's obviously from the conditioner. The conditioner will just sit on the top of the curls, on the top of the hair. It actually doesn't soak into the hair, but because it's dried really nicely, and it makes the hair look really silky. There we go. So, and you can pull them out to make them longer or shorter if you want to, by just giving them a little tug and it'll come down like that. So we'll do this side as well now. You can still see, but this side, remember, is going the other way. Alright, so when you do your curls on this side, you want them to come back in that way. Like that. Oops, I can't remember how to do that. Hang on a minute, let's try again. That's better. Yeah. No, I've got that wrong, am I? This hand, sorry. Yeah, that hand, that's right. Use your left hand to do the other side of the curls. I forgot for a minute how to do that. And just curl that around your finger. Okay, like that. Drop that one down. And you can sort of twiddle around with it, get it how you want it. Now, mine are played with by 3-year-olds. So, you know, they are going to get a little bit rougher treatment. If you're just having them just to display, or if they're going to be looked after by an older child, they're not going to have the problems which it's going to get with 3-year-olds. What happens with 3-year-olds is they're touching stuff, they get sticky hands, whatever, and then it gets onto the hair. So the younger children, if they don't sort of wash their hands before they play with the dolls, you know, and they're doing disgusting things which younger children do with their nose in different bits and pieces. So yeah, so you just got to think that you will probably need to do that with your doll. With a child's doll, if they're playing with it a lot, you want to keep it reasonably clean. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish these curls off. I'd like to keep the shorter ones on the top, just the ones on the top, just a little bit shorter, so that they're not as coming down as far, because I think it sort of makes it look more levelled off. And you can see where I've done it there. You could just take that there now and make that into a bunch like that. Okay, and that would form a lovely a set of bunches for your doll. I wouldn't plait this hair on Florence because the plaits will take the curl out of her hair. I would probably just keep it as I am doing it now and just keep it long, just hanging down long. I'll put a slide in it around the front, and she's got a new dress. So that would look nice for her. So there we go, that's coming nicely, all folding in beautifully. And you know, you can take it and you can twiddle it around to get it into the where you want your curl to be. If you get some bits down the end, you can just poke those in as well, like that, and that'll just go inside that ringlet there. And 2 more left. Okay, so I'm just going to come from the top again, and we're going to work backwards again around my finger. As you get nearer the front, they tend to need to be a little bit longer, so your finger's not quite long enough just to get it around, so it's just a case of wiggling it. And can you see I've got a bit of a, this one wants to fold back, so I'm just wiggling it around to get it into the right position there. Okay, I'll just slip it out. That's better. There we go. Last one. Now if you brush this out now with one of those combs, you will get a better, you'll have a nice ringlet. Oh, I'm doing it, which way am I going here? Let's try this one. No, I can't do it that way. Yeah, that's it, got it. There we go, okay. Not done that right, what have I done wrong here? 1, 2, yeah, that's it, I've got it now. 3, there you are. I'll bring that back over. Okay, so there she is. So we're going to get her out of her polythene bag now. Okay, so can you see that? That is laying really prettily, and this is it from the front. Alright, so there she is. Okay, so I'm going to take that now and I'm going to style that hair, put it into the way up position I want it, and get it laying nicely. You just see all the curls at the back, they're really pretty here. So I'm just going to give Florence a quick clean. I probably should have done this before I did her hair. I thought I had, but then when I've looked at her, she's still really dirty. She has a mark on her neck made from pen. I'm going to go across it with a little bit of isopropylic rubbing alcohol. Okay, I'm going to just have a go with that just to see if I can get it off. What I probably need to do is either get some peroxide, and what you do is you put the peroxide on and then you put a piece of cling film across the top. I was a bit worried because it's quite near her skin, so I'd have to sort of like put masking tape in that on her skin to stop any of it going on there. So I'm just going to try this now. Sometimes this works and sometimes this doesn't. All of my dolls were bought second hand, so they're all been pre-loved, so they have all come from different children in that. We got Florence here, she was £1.50 from a charity shop, so I was quite pleased with that. That is fading a bit, so you could definitely do that. Now you could do the peroxide on her neck. The other thing that you can use is a stuff called Oxy 10, which is an acne cream, and that also works on getting marks off their skin. This is definitely fading, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to get it all off by doing it with this. I will just keep going at that for a bit. I mean that's definitely faded since I put it on, so I'm quite pleased with that. I mean, if I'd sort of tried it every time, you know. Also, my dolls, I belong to the children, so I was a bit worried about putting stuff onto them. I mean, I know you can rinse it off afterwards, but just I always get a little bit concerned that whatever you're putting onto the dolls might get onto the children's hands and things. So that's why I haven't used any of the other type of stuff, because I was just a bit afraid that might cause a problem. So I'll go over that, and I try not, when you're using this, you don't want to get it on their lips or anywhere where there's any colour, eyebrows or anything like that, because this could take the paint off. Alright, so you just really want to get it on the area where you've got it, and that definitely has faded down a lot since when I started, so I'll keep at it. We use this stuff we put it with a little bit of white wine vinegar, and we put in some essential oil and we use it to clean our floors, watered right down, and then you can use it for cleaning toilets and stuff like that. So we're trying to do it be a little bit more environmentally friendly. We probably only would put, say, a capful of that into say like half a bucket of, well, about a quarter bucket of water maybe, with a tiny bit of essential oils and probably the same white wine vinegar or white vinegar. That just works if you're sort of like trying to be more environmentally, not using stuff. And that's definitely fading. So think if I went across that each time I was doing it, that might come off there. The other thing I've got now is I'm going to clean her all over with a magic eraser, and I'm just going to get it gently wet, and I'm just going to go all over her. You don't want too much water in these, and I'll just clean her over. And this will just get any marks or stickiness off her from when the children have been playing with her. Okay. Make sure her hands, and you can see how much dirt is coming off. That's just from the children playing. They carry them around and that sort of stuff. So yeah, they do get dirty. Right. So I'll give her a little wash all over. I won't touch her fabric. You can clean the fabric. What you need to do is you can clean it with a wet wipe, just the surface of it, but also you can take her head and her legs and everything off, which is quite a job. And refred them back on when it's time to do it, and you can wash it in the washing machine and then restuff it, and so it is a job, but if you've got something which is really mucked up, you can do that. It would take a couple of hours to do that, and it's quite a job to do it, so I wouldn't recommend that. I would just surface wash it with like a baby wet wipe. When you're doing it, make sure you get particular into her hands where those little creases are, because that gets a lot of dirt in there, especially if the children pick them up by their hands, which you probably shouldn't do. You should probably always pick them up by their body, but you know what kids are like. Yeah, so she's looking good. I'm just going to use the other side of it just to dry it down, and then I will use a plain white towel just to dry her once she's finished. Alright, and I'll do that all over her, just to get her nice and clean. Let's see how dirty it is. So I've just washed her all over, and I took a wipe and I've just done her body. Now when you're coming back and you're washing all over, if you see that there's a little bit, there's just a grubby mark there, which you might not have got to, just go over and just make sure it's all cleaned up. Alright, that's it. Now I just washed her body with just a baby's wet wipe, but didn't use very much. It was just sort of like, I'd give it a little squeeze first to make sure there wasn't too much liquid in the wipe, and then I went over and just wiped down her body. And you'll probably need to put that somewhere to dry off. It'll probably take about half an hour to an hour before she'll be dry. Make sure she's dry all over. You can see she's got another pen mark on her leg, which could do with a wipe over with that alcohol, but I'm just going to do this to show you. I didn't see that on her leg. How I'm cleaning her up. Okay, and there we go. And she's got all her fur. Make sure you get inside those ears as well. Right, and just give her a general wipe over all over. There we go, and that's it. So there she goes. She's nice and clean. So now we know that you can feel the difference in her. She actually feels like she's been cleaned. So here we have Florence. She's all finished. She's been washed and she's had her hair done. She's looking really good. I still have that mark on her neck, so I am going to have to look into how to get that off. We shall be making this hair bow and the dress which she's wearing. I will show you how I've embellished it to make it look a little bit prettier for the dolls. So that's what we're doing. We should be making those in the next few days. Okay, so I hope you like it. She's looking really cute in her outfit. Yes, I love it. I hope everybody else loves it too. See you later. Goodbye.